G'day, guys. It's that time again, 1931, just after 7:30, Detour Live time, and we're 6 stages down at the Tour de France, and Mitchelton-Scott hold on to the yellow iffy. I've handboarded you the yellow balloons. They've come up bloody sensational, mate.
Yes, it's all yellow. I've taken the yellow jersey off. I copped a bit of flack for that one, but it's sensational. Two days, even though Daryl Impey had trouble working out how many days I'd had it, it is 2 days.
Now, as always, we've got a jam-packed show. We're going to be chatting with Matt White, which we pre-recorded. We spoke with Daryl Impey live from the team bus, and we've got a couple of special guests. Iffy, do you want to run off the one who will give us insights on what it's like to wear the yellow jersey? You know who I'm talking about?
He's the man, of course. I do. Mr. Phil Anderson, the legend. So Phil was the first, not just the first Australian, the first non-European to wear the yellow jersey. You know, got some shots of him popping up there. And 1981. And I was actually, my last year, and I raced a few races against him, and he was just a kid. You could tell he was going to be something special, and what a career. And it took Cadell Evans to win the World Championship and the Tour de France to surpass Phil Anderson as our greatest road cyclist.
And we're also going to be chatting to Olympic gold medalist from 1988, and that's Duncan Armstrong. Now, he's a mad cycling fan as well, and he hosts a series with Telstra all about cycling, and he's very good at public speaking. So I'm looking forward to that because we've dug up some videos from the archives, and geez, Laurie Lawrence, that is absolutely hilarious how nuts he goes in the crowd.
I'm looking forward to that.
So Richie Port, Iffy, he's going to be a father again any moment now. What would have you done back in the day? You would have said, sorry, Kay, I'm not going to ride the Tour de France. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to be there for the birth.
Yeah, well,
how would you put it?
It didn't quite work out that way. My first, Lisa, my eldest, she was born while I was at the Munich Olympics. So she was born the night of the terrorist attack, which some say is very, very fitting. Anyway.
So that baby should arrive any moment. So he'll be getting updates out on the road. But as we said, we caught up with Mitchelton-Scott sports director Matt White, and here's part one of that interview earlier today. Sports director, Mitchelton-Scott, Matthew White. Whitey, looking at the background, looks like it's one of those, 4-star hotels? Looks like a good one.
It is. It's one of the better hotels we have of the month. When you remember, Jonesy, where Daryl took the yellow jersey in the Tour de France when Gero gave it to him in Montpellier.
Right.
I'm round the corner from that hotel, the golf hotel. It's a very nice one.
Oh,
Yeah. So I just went for a walk this morning and walked straight past that hotel, and this one's a nice one. So they're not as nice every night, but you savour them when they are.
And how are the staff reacting to having the yellow jersey team staying in their hotel? It's always a great privilege for the locals.
It is. So I've got to leave in 15 minutes, but before we leave, all the hotel staff, all people on duty, I want to get a photo with Adam and the boys outside the front of the bus. So the good thing is now all the teams, there's 3 teams staying here. We've all got separate dining areas. So actually you don't see too much of other teams, but also because of the COVID regulations and everything, there's not as many people hanging around the hotel, which is great. Usually if you have the yellow jersey, there'd be tons of people just hanging around, loitering in the lobby and all that. But it's not as bad as normal.
Just one quick one. While you touched on the staff all wanting to get their photo, how does that work with the bubble and the whole COVID situation?
Well, no one comes anywhere near us without a mask on. There's no touching, and we'll just walk. They'll be around us. Obviously just for a second for a photo and away.
Have you seen Skippy this year?
No, I think COVID's got him, mate. I think I have not seen him. I think he's probably locked up in Calais.
Trying
to get back into the UK.
There had to be a plus somewhere in the whole COVID thing.
No, I don't know where he is. For the people who don't know, there's a gentleman who lives in Europe who pretends to be Australian, self-proclaimed as Skippy, and he annoys the hell out of us wherever we go on the on our global tour.
Don't feel special there, because he annoys the hell out of everybody.
Oh yeah.
Now, Impey, you've got some insights on today's stage.
Yes, look, interesting today's stage. Of course, there's not many sprint opportunities, so the sprinters teams are going to take over from you, hopefully, to control the day. I'm sure a break will go early, which you'll be happy to see. But the biggest concern I can see is this area is renowned for crosswinds.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's not an easy start today's stage. That's a pretty rude little start. So the biggest danger for the sprint teams, and it's the two sprint teams predominantly, or the three, I would think that would be real interested in controlling would be Sunweb, Lotto Soudal and Quickstep, is if a decent break goes, there's a lot of crosswind today and a lot of tailwind. And they're not the strongest of teams to bring something back. So if you get a group of 8 or 10 go up the road in that first 10 kilometres, it will be hard to bring them back. So they'll want a small group for sure. And then, we know the last 40 kilometres is going to be a degree of crosswind. So it's going to be a stressful day and not a straightforward sprint day today.
I was going to say, how does Yatesy go? Because he's like the old wing dog. They love riding at the back of the bunch, but with the yellow jersey, it makes it a little bit more difficult. How's he going with that transition?
It's a work in progress. You look at, there's a time and a place. But one thing is when Yatesy knows there's a key moment, he's there. He prefers to collect tickets down the back of the bunch and box on up the front. But that's fine. You do save a lot of energy. But as long as you have very, very good intel of roads and wind direction and change, then when you tell him on the radio, he just moves up and zips up the side of the bunch or goes up with a teammate. He doesn't miss a beat. But in between, he likes to be pretty relaxed.
Now, that was part one of our chat with Whitey. And speaking of relaxed, Whitey seems very relaxed. It obviously gives you wings having the jersey in the team, Impey.
Well, I think we're getting him earlier. That's the thing. But once he gets at the event and he's half an hour to go, he gets all a bit tense and nervous. So it would much better getting him earlier. And plus, he hasn't got his mask on.
As we always say, get involved with the show. You can ask questions. Obviously, the pre-recordings, you can't ask Whitey questions, but Wendy Superfan, hi guys. Hi, Wendy. And Jason, hi, Jeds and Wendy. Hi, how you going? Now, the next part of our chat with Whitey, I think we're talking more about what he used to get up to as a rider back in the day. I was going to say, Whitey used to like riding at the back of the bunch, dishing out ice creams at the Giro.
Yeah, look, but unfortunately for the guys, the races are a little bit more stressful now, and it's changed. It's changed. There's no fun like that anymore. Back in when I was racing, especially in the Giro, the first half or third of the race was pretty cruisy, and then obviously the last hour or two was warp speed. But the Tour de France has changed a long, long time ago, and there's not too many chances to even chat with people, really.
Whitey, are the key GC teams happy that you've got the jersey? Does it take a bit of pressure off sort of your Ineos and your Jumbo Vismas?
It does, but then you saw how Ineos rode yesterday, and they rode that Category 1 climb. I'm still scratching my head why they did that, but I wasn't complaining. But look, they've got a template that they use. Maybe it was because they wanted to keep the pace steady, so discourage people attacking, but then they didn't go on with it to go take the stage win. But look, I don't get all teams' tactics, but at the end of the day, we've got our own one, and it worked well yesterday. And look, today's it's not a simple day. As soon as you relax in a race like this, that's when you get caught out. And then we've got a very interesting couple of days coming up in the Pyrenees.
Whitey, I see that Mollema has quoted on Dutch telly that he thought that Bernal was in a bit of trouble near the end there.
Yeah, look, I don't look at social media while I'm at races, but Yeah, I heard the boys talking that he heard him yelling to Kitowski to slow down yesterday when they're riding tempo or whatever. But look, at the end of the day, the guys won the last year's Tour de France, and I think he is definitely building for the third week. But I definitely don't read too much into that. I think we'll get a better idea of form in 48 hours time in the Pyrenees, mate.
Well, the big question is going to be how has COVID affected with the limited sort of racing leading up to the Tour. Some of the big guys that are normally a bit more dominant, they might not be as ripped and ready to rock.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see that more in the back end of the race, like the last week. But one thing I have noticed is even though we're only 7 days into the race, there's a lot of guys who had a hard first couple of days with crashes and have gone super deep. And when it blows here, it blows big time. So I think that we're going to see a very, very aggressive weekend of racing because there's so many guys that are off general classification, which makes it easier to defend for us. But because there's less guys you're watching. But everyone knows that we're keen to give those stages away because we don't. At the end of the day, if Roderick's sprinting for a stage win, he'll probably get the bonuses, and if he gets the bonuses, we leave the jersey. So it's no secret that we're going to let those stages go on the weekend, which means an aggressive start to actually get in the breaks.
That was exactly what I was going to ask the question, but you've already answered it. But 2 days in yellow, mate, it's pretty special, hey?
Yeah, it is, mate. And obviously, the way we got it was a special one. Not every day, but look, at the end of the day, we're in second place. We've got it now, and we'll be keeping it as long as we can.
Well, we wish you all the best over the next couple of days, mate. Thanks for joining us again on the detour, and good luck with the French staff. I'm sure they'll be pretty chuffed with the team photo.
Yeah, that's for sure. Straight to the pool room.
Good on you, mate.
See you, gents.
I was just thinking if he watching that is okay, looking in the crystal ball. Say Yatesy can just hang on and he's there with all the hitters and he's not losing any time. Geez, with the unknown around how these GC guys are going with the limited lead up, I mean, they could be a chance. I mean, you're probably going to have to wait and see, another week down the track, but who knows? Who knows in cycling? Like you've seen guys ride out of their absolute skin when they've had the jersey. Look at Alaphilippe last year. But, you'll have to wait and see. What do you reckon?
I'm sure in the back of his mind and Waddy's mind, they're saying we are a chance. They're not going to say it out loud, but they are a chance. I mean, this guy he finished fourth when he was and wore the white jersey just 3 or 4 years ago. So he is capable of doing the whole 3 weeks and being in the right in the thick of things in the final week. So, and also he's not going to go silly. So I know that he wants to go for a stage win and all of that, but he's not going to be worried about that right now. That's going to be if he does lose it later on. But at the moment, he'll be riding this to stay in yellow all the way to Paris.
Now, Jace wants to ask a question. He says, I know we can't ask Matt White, but if they can hold on to the yellow for 4 to 5 stages, when will they let Esteban ride GC for the entire race? Now, Whitey was saying he was keen for Esteban to lose time at some point so that he could go down the road. But what do you think is going to be the tactics there?
Look, they're both in great form. And what will happen at the moment, Esteban main role will be to help keep Yatesy in yellow. So when we've got the Pyrenees in after tomorrow, that'll be his role. But if something happens and Yatesy cracks, then Esteban will be able to have a go. But I think if Yatesy does crack at some stage, then it'll be back to plan A and go for the stage wins.
Now, we were asking Whitey a couple of days ago, what's more important, the yellow jersey or a stage win? And who better to ask that question than Daryl Impey? So here's our chat with Daryl earlier today from the Yellow Submarine. Well, we've got a very, very special guest, and we're crossing live now to the Yellow Submarine. Daryl Impey, how are you travelling, buddy?
Flying, mate. Absolutely flying in this Tour de France this year. No, Yatesy's flying. No, we were pretty excited. We got the yellow jersey back in the group, and everybody's upbeat here. So it's going to look like a little bit of a stressful day today, kind of a little bit of wind. kind of what we had when we had the yellow jersey in our team. So a bit of stress, but at least we got yellow and we'll be in the front. So, well, we should be in the front.
Daryl, great to see you, mate. You're right in the area where you got the yellow jersey back in 2013.
That's it, Montpellier. So we got good memories. Actually, Whitey took a walk around the golf course this morning and he said, "Hey, mate, I think this is where we celebrated you having the yellow jersey." And I said, "No, you're dead right there." So it's quite cool to be back in that area, and then also to have the yellow jersey with us as well. So good memories. And hopefully we can continue this run. Maximum is 4 days in the team so far. So we're on this day. So what is it? Day? Shit, I can't even remember how many days we had the yellow jersey. Today's day 2.
2 days.
Well, Daryl, we had Gero on the other day, and I said, "Do people still come up to you and say, 'Shit, you're a good bloke'?" But I've got a snippet of the video. We showed bits of All for One, but I've got some of the backstage pass just to get the emotion going again, Daryl. So here's a snippet from that day.
A massive day for South Africa, for me, for everyone. It's a great team effort today, and thanks to Simon for actually passing the jersey on to me, and I couldn't have asked for anything more special. And then to see my family as well at the finish is really something special.
And the culture of this team, does today really sum up that sort of word, mateship?
Yeah, you can see that. It's not very often that you see the yellow jersey going trying to lead out Gossi for the final. So they're obviously doing that job. There's a bit of sacrifice involved, and I was one of the guys on the lucky end of that stick today. So really happy to have this yellow jersey, and it's a great moment.
Well, it couldn't have gone to a nicer guy. It just typifies what the culture of this organisation is about, matemanship, and it's a team, and you deserve it, mate.
Thanks very much, Siri.
Now, you have got a lion doll for your little boy.
He's going to enjoy that.
Hey?
Yeah, fantastic scenes. Now, little Aiden's there. How old's Aiden now?
She's like, I was looking at that video now, just thinking to myself how much I've aged.
Now,
Aiden's 7. So he's a big boy already.
does he still have the yellow line?
He's still got the yellow line. Oh man, you don't give those things away. No ways. Actually, my wife, every time I get a yellow line, she's like, "Well, that means another kid." And then Dauphiné 2 years ago, whatever, we got the third lion. And when I had the yellow jersey in Dauphiné, and then we had obviously our third boy. But now she's like, "I'll try and get another lion." I'm like, I'm not going to even ask. I'm not even going to ask Adam for another lion, because that means the fourth one. You've got to be crazy.
Now, the biggest question, if we had, was to Matt White a couple of days ago, and that was, what means more, a day in the yellow or a stage win? Well, we've got the opportunity to find out. If you had the choice, Daryl, what would you take? Stage win, because you've experienced both, or the yellow jersey?
Yeah, I think the yellow jersey still. I think it's the holy grail in cycling. Stage win is fantastic, obviously, but you realize that when you see the amount of people that have actually worn the yellow jerseys in their lives or their careers, it's such a rare amount of people that have done it. And especially, for me, it was really special because it was history for South Africa. There was a lot to go with it. So, and especially the way we did it. All of those things counted massively, so that's definitely still probably the pinnacle of my career, I'd say. But having a stage, when they're different feelings, the thing is, when you have the yellow jersey, and then people say, "Yeah, but have you ever won a stage?" So then I could never ever say, "Yeah, I've won a stage." We won the team time trial, but an individual stage, no. But then finally, when I got my own stage win, I could say, "Yeah, actually, I have as well." So it was nice to tick all those boxes.
Well, we were saying to Billy, at least he can say even in his career now, he's ridden the Tour de France, because, as you know, people that don't know anything about cycling, it's all about the Tour. How you going, Wagon?
He's right behind me. He's just, Hey, fellas!
Sammy!
How good are those insights? The fact that the technology nowadays, we're here in Victoria, we're in lockdown, and we can cross live to the bus with the team that are leading the Tour de France and get insights like that is fantastic. But he's a really funny guy, Daryl. He's always been good with his quick wit and an absolute superstar. You think about what he's achieved so far in his career, it's incredible. Now, if you put your journalistic cap on and you ask the hard questions in part 2. So here's the second part with Daryl on the bus. What about yourself? You came into this tour of the team saying you want to win stages. Have you got anything earmarked later on in the Tour de France for yourself?
Realistically, I think week 2 gives me some opportunities to go up the road. Obviously, we know to get in the breakaway, you still got to have the legs to get there. That's the first part. That's the real race, is getting into the breakaway, and then having the legs to finish it off. But definitely, week 2 is probably the most achievable week for me to go up the road and try and go for some stages. But like we're taking it day by day here. Yates is in yellow jersey. Obviously, we don't want to lose that jersey or give it away or anything like that. So, we'll put everything into that. And then I think, we'll know by after this weekend in the Pyrenees how everyone's going and where we sit in the overall classification. But definitely want to try and look for going up the road next week.
Got any questions? You're going to have Daryl, it's a pretty hard day today, solid day. You were expecting a lot of crosswinds. So how do you reckon it'll all pan out?
Yeah, fortunately, we've got a lot of big guys that can handle the wind here in our team. We've got a big engine room. So I think we got those bases covered to look after the 80. But that being said, there's not many sprint opportunities. So I can see a lot of teams wanting it to become a sprint today. A lot of GC guys are still pretty close on GC. They don't want to lose time. They're all going to be there'll be a big fight for the front, I think, today. We might even see a wall of riders just taking that crosswind. But, I can't really see too much happening until very late in the race, and if there are going to be gaps, I don't think they should be too big. And hopefully, I'm sure we'll be in the front end of that.
Now, last one from me, Daryl. They talk about road captains in cycling. Now, you're the road captain for the team. What does that mean? And have you ever had to pull the captain's badge?
Not really. Actually, Chris talks more on the radio than I do. So, I don't. They're not team. But it's just really about having the eyes on the road to give Whitey some information. And if we see a spot in the race that obviously our directors can't see, and we need to make a decision, we kind of look. But we all discuss between ourselves. I think it's just really about maybe being the guy who makes the decision in the end and says, right, we're going for it or we're not. But generally, a lot of the guys here, we kind of all on the same page already. While we might be given a certain title of road captain, I don't really see it as like me being any different to anybody else. I think it's just maybe I'm road captain just because I'm older, But most of us are pretty vocal on the radio already together, and I think it's really about that time where you need to make the decision when nobody else can, and that's where you kind of got to step in.
Good stuff,
Daryl, you've been with this team right from the beginning. You are an integral part of it. You as Dan just said, the road captain. But now it's been announced that you're moving with Froomey to Israel. That must have been a really tough decision, mate.
Oh, definitely. It wasn't an easy decision. I love this team. There's no doubt about it. Like I said, had great memories here over the years, and it was a really, really difficult decision, especially, we go so far back. But, eventually, change is something that needs to happen somewhere. And, it was just this time around, all good things come to an end. And but that's, still looking forward now to finishing off on a high note here with Mitchelton-Scott and finishing off in a really good way.
Well, as you said, it's only been, stage 7 today. There's still plenty of great memories to come, mate. So all the best for the rest of the tour, and we might check in later in the race. Good luck for today.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, say hello to the boys.
I will do. Yeah, ciao.
Good day, mate. That was Daryl Impey, Iffy. Good on you for asking the hard questions. I usually try and wait until later on in the tour and keep it all soft, but you got it in there, mate.
Oh, good on you, Dan. That was great interview, great guy.
Now, in Daryl's case, as we said, he's going to have opportunities, particularly in that second part of the tour. And if he can manage to sort of keep himself relatively fresh, hopefully gives us a heads up, because we want to keep that streak going where we were tipping winners for the stage. Now, we mentioned at the top of the show.
I've got to just disagree with you there, mate. I hope he doesn't get the opportunity to go up the road, because if he doesn't get the opportunity to go up the road, that means that Yatesy is still in yellow.
Well, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I'm sorry, mate. Well done. Now, we've got a very special guest. As we said at the top of the show, he's a gold medalist for the 1988 Olympics, and that's Duncan Armstrong. Duncan, can you hear us, mate? Are you there? Duncan? Iffy. I think he's got...
He's got my internet. He's got my internet.
Are you sure you're doing content with Telstra, mate? It looks like the internet's a bit iffy. I think he's cutting in and out. It looks like I've got my work cut out for me again. Well, before to fill some time, Iffy, why don't we talk about our sponsors? Obviously, we've got Lexus,
yes.
and then
Lexus of Blackburn.
Yes.
The Moore family, wonderful sponsors. And there's the photo. We'll have to redo that. I've been copying a bit of flack on that, especially from Jerry. He hadn't got any socks on, you might notice. Mark meant to notice that. And, of course, Mitchelton Winery, Mitchelton Hotel there at the beautiful Nagambie on the Goulburn River. Get up there when you can. And also, Andrew Scar, very excited. Andrew, last night, he's an Akadaka fan, so he's got his Highway from Hell T-shirt out after our great finale last night. But let's go. Book early.
We got a special.
The early bird special, 90 days.
Yeah, that's 5%
right. Discount.
We got you back, Duncan. Now
hey guys,
you look like yes, it's connected. You beauty. That's a relief. How are you, mate?
I'm really good. Enjoying the show, fellas. Thanks very much. Putting together all things Tour de France. I'm a long-term mammal, so I got into cycling in my 40s. Don't do as much in my 50s, but still enjoy it as a sport. So watching and listening to you guys and the passion, it's right where I want to be for 3 weeks.
Now, this is a privilege for me. I'm talking to two Olympians, but I think both Olympians had different preparation for their events. I think you might have been a little bit more committed to your craft than Johnny Trevorrow. Would you agree? You'd have to agree, Johnny.
Without doubt. you could just about get any Olympian on and ask them the same question, the same answer, but that's fine.
But an Olympian's an Olympian, Johnny.
Thanks,
that's
Doug.
right. Now, what I love picking the brains of elite athletes is pressure in sport, mate. Now, obviously, there's pressure on the Mitchelton-Scott team. You know, they've got the yellow jersey. They've got to try and defend it now. Now, how did you handle pressure back in the day?
Yeah, pressure comes with the territory. You sort of build up to it. It's not something that just arrives. You know, it took me 5 years, I think, to prepare myself for the 1988 Olympic Games. So from the ages of 14 all the way through to 20, you know, basically I was on the climb. And with that climb came the acceptance of pressure. First you go state, then you go nationals, then you go international. And then you go to something like the big games, like a World Championships, Commonwealth Games, and then finally to the Olympic Games. So pressure is a learnt behaviour. It's a process. And process equals outcomes. So Mitchelton-Scott, you know, how many years they've been in the game, their handlers, the guys, how many tours they've been in, you know, that all rolls into basically accepting the pressure that's on offer right now or is against them right now, if you want to put it that way. And they'll go through their process, they'll go through their teamwork, and all of that chips away so the pressure doesn't crush you. So you make the right decisions at the right time, whether it's on the road, in the pool, and again, don't forget, the process that they're in and the bubble that they're in really will add to basically whether they'll be able to handle this as a team or not. So that's how I look at pressure. That pressure is basically a learned behaviour, and if you've done the process and done the work enough, then you'll handle the pressure at the top level. So
going into the '88 Olympics, I've read stuff online that you were extremely confident, even though you weren't the favourite to win, particularly the 200. So going into that event, what was your mindset like?
Yeah, well, see, swimming's a little bit different from what we're seeing in the Tour de France or pretty much any sport. So we run off a 4-year clock when it comes to the Olympic cycle. And if you're swimming the China Freestyle, where all the glamour blokes are and all the guys with charisma and good looks are, then your race is going to take 1 minute and 47 seconds. And so the equation for that is on one day every 4 years, you got 1 minute and 47 seconds for the ultimate exam to see how good you are. The best in the world are going to show up, and you're all going to try to win that race and have your Olympic moment. So everyone has their dreams and emotions involved. But when you talk about pressure, that's the 4-year clock that the swimmers sort of go through. And like I said before, there's all these meets in the lead up to it. Now, I got to 1988 as a 20-year-old, my first Olympic Games. My race was on day number 1. Now, we knew this for 4 years straight. So we were preparing for day 1 of the Olympic Games for 4 years straight, and I was trying to get bigger and stronger and faster with everything I did, because at 6'2", I was going to be the shortest in the race. At 48th in the world, I was going to be the least favourite in the race. But if I did the comparison test with the 3 other world record holders in the race and the European champions and the American champions, I would lose, because that just crushes you. So what you've got to do is focus on you being the best you possibly can be. If I looked across the pool and looked in everybody else's lane, I would have been convinced that I couldn't have won. But I spent 2 years getting ready for that, and 2 years doing the best I possibly could. I put on about 15 kilos of muscle. I had an eating program to die for, and I raced and I trained and I did a lot of different things that I knew that the other 7 competitors weren't prepared to do. So I was going to be the best I possibly could be when I stood up on those blocks in lane 6 in the fastest race in history. And I took all that with me, but my training times were pointing up. Everything was pointing up. So all I had to do was execute, put my mind in sort of neutral, put all that sort of circus stuff that the Olympics throws up in neutral, and just hit the water and just go hard. And that's what I did. And I had enough training, and I became the best me that was good enough to beat all the rest of them. So it was good. Well,
I've got goosebumps just hearing that. I want to show the vision of that night, and I've watched it a few times now, and it gets me. We've got to get people fired up. As we always say, Johnny, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Let's get inspired. This is going back to that amazing night in 1988.
At the 150-meter mark, Biondi regains the lead. Holmad second. Duncan Armstrong in the lane below Biondi is third. Duncan Armstrong draws even with Biondi. Then gradually inches ahead. Duncan Armstrong sets a world record.
How do you feel? Mate, we just beat 3 world records. How do you think I feel?
Now, that is an iconic moment in Australian sport history. Now, tell me about Laurie Lawrence. Your audio's cutting out, mate. We've got technical difficulties. Are you there, mate? Yeah, we've lost your audio. Yeah, maybe have a play of the settings. Look, while you're having a fiddle with your settings, I found part 2 of that. Now, Laurie, we saw how emotional he was after the finish. Now, this is Laurie. He didn't just settle for celebrating with quarters. He went one step further.
What do you think we come here for? Silver? Stuff the silver. We come for the gold. What do you think we come for?
And the Olympic victory ceremony will follow the B final.
Where is he? Where's the animal? Where's the animal?
Olympic champion representing Australia, Duncan Armstrong.
Duncan! Hey, Duncan! 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 Hey, Duncan! I know you are. Hey, Dunk, I know you. I'm a friend of yours.
Oh, how good is that? I love how he
Daryl.
just sticks his head over to say, "Hey, Duncan, I know you." Like, tell us about Laurie.
No, it's a classic. Yeah, I ran into Laurie when I was about 9 years of age. About 14 years of age. And I swam with Laurie for about 9 years. And I've had 35 years of therapy because of that. But Laurie was just the perfect coach for me. Everything Laurie said basically made sense to me, which is a bit of a worry. So he's tremendously enthusiastic, really understood the game of the Olympic Games, you know, how to get there, how to prepare young swimmers, how to get them ready for that big moment. And he's just truly made for the whole experience and done away with Olympic Games ever since. Everybody I run into, whoever's run into him at the Olympic Games or around, just loves his energy. Loves, I remember, I think it was some of the cyclists, I think, were stuck at the Olympic Games one time, and they'll find it really, really hard just to find a bus. I think it was in Beijing and I couldn't get anybody. The guys had to Europe, and so they had all their bike boxes and bags, and they were like 40 minutes away from their international flight, leaving the airport, and didn't have a chance to get into it. Laurie comes around the corner in the Australian team, walks around, he goes, "What's wrong, fellas?" And they go, "We can't get to the airport. It's just not working." And he goes, "Oh, bugger that." Runs around, comes back with about 30 people, 4 buses, chucked all their stuff on the buses, got a police escort, got them to the airport, threw their bags on, still made the international flight. And every time I see some of those cyclists like Brad McGee and these sort of blokes, they go, "How good's your coach?" And that's only one instance that they've run into him about. And I've just got dozens and dozens and dozens of those stories. He just will not stop, will not compromise. He just loves what he does, and he just loves young people reaching their potential in some of the biggest stages sport throws up. And he's just a born motivator. He's great.
Yeah, unbelievable vision. Now we're talking about vision. I think we've still got a few technical difficulties, so we've got our work cut out tonight. But I want the pinnacle, Iffy, of when you win the gold medal is when you get up on the podium and you listen to the national anthem. Now, I thought it's appropriate that we take the time to watch that medal ceremony, the national anthem, and just how much that meant to our mate Laurie. So if you're at home, you're watching this on TV, stand up, hum along to the words. This is the ceremony of the 88 Games. Fantastic stuff. Iffy, do you want to ask Duncan a question? If we've got him via, I think his Wi-Fi is playing up.
Yeah, where did you buy your Wi-Fi, mate? Did you buy it at the same $2 shop that I did, I guess. He's frozen in time.
He's frozen. Well, we'll see if we can get him back on. But in the meantime, we've got another legend. We might have to get them both on at the same time. We've got Phil Anderson. How are you, mate? Your Wi-Fi going all right?
No, I don't know.
Hang on. It's all. You're there, mate.
Yeah, it can be a bit dodgy too. Yeah. So between Duncan and I, mate, we'll get half a show, mate.
We had all these questions. We had it all planned out, but we're relying on technology. So it's been an eventful detour, and we've got people sending in questions. But we'll focus the chat now to you, mate. why don't you open proceedings, because I pretty much took over the show then.
Well, it's what you do. It's what you do. Actually, Phil, I think the problem might be with Dan, because he's blaming everyone else. So I think Dan could be the issue with the internet. But anyway, we've got you, mate. I got to say, I was fortunate enough to be in Europe in '81 and raced a few races with you, Phil, when you went on in your first Tour de France. You're only 21, and you got the yellow jersey in your first tour. How much did that change your life?
Well, still people are still banging on about it today. So I guess it's it's pretty big. But at the time, I was just on the team as a domestique, and the first stage in the mountains in the Pyrenees, I had a good day, and found myself sprinting against Bernardino at the top of this ski resort at Plateté. It was the first time I'd really been in the mountains, other than the Dandenongs, and so had a great day and was in the yellow jersey. So I had no idea, I'd led races and that before, but once you put the yellow jersey on in the Tour de France, it's a whole nother level. But you sort of thrust it in front of the cameras, just sort of on the world stage, and I had to fill some pretty big boots because I'd never been really a leader of a team before, and it was huge, and I only had the yellow jersey for one day. Had a time trial the next day, and in Pau. I don't know if they're going to Pau this year. They might have a stage start there, but anyway, yeah. So just had a time trial there and did really well. I mean, they talk about the power, the strength that the yellow jersey gives you. Here I am, my first time trial in the Tour de France, and I got a third place in that time trial. But I was wearing the yellow jersey, and if I wasn't wearing that jersey, I might have finished third last. but anyway,
you were in form.
Yeah, I was in second place for most of the tour, and as soon as I got to the Alps, on the other side of France, I lost a few more places, and finished 10th that year, and we came back the next year and consolidated my position as a potential leader of a team or potential winner of the tour, with getting the yellow jersey on day 2 over in Nancy and winning a stage there, and then had that for like 10 days and ended up coming in 5th. So that was my first foray really into the first 2 tours, and went on from there.
Phil, because it happened so early in your career, I mean, how much did you draw on that experience, and how much momentum did that give you? Because it must be a lot of confidence knowing that you had the yellow jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I was, when you sort of got the Tour de France in front of you, you don't know, if you're even going to get a finish, so it's distances and 3 weeks on the trot, and so you sort of go into it not really knowing what to expect. But then I got the yellow jersey on day 6, and my focus then was on trying to get the yellow jersey back again. I was always like 5 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, like going for bonification sprint and trying not to lose time on hilltop finishes and all around France. So all of a sudden I forgot the fears that I had of whether I could finish this bloody event or not was gone. Now it was on, actually trying to do something in the race, rather than just carrying water bottles for my teammates. So, and that's basically what I went to the tour to do. So, it is. It gives you huge confidence, and backing it up the second year, and that's reflected in other results that you get. Suddenly I was winning like Amstel Gold Race, and stages in most races that I did, like in the Dauphiné or Tour of Switzerland or Romandy or races all over the world, and it was the confidence that I got in riding that Tour de France, and having past winners of the tours coming up to me and congratulating me and telling me that they personally that they think that I have a potential to lead the race and keep the yellow jersey.
Iffy?
Yeah, so we've been asking the question. We asked it to Daryl Impey just before, and we'll ask you now. You've won a stage in the Tour de France. You've worn the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. What do you think gets the most kudos? What was most important to you?
Look, I think that the two sort of go in tandem. Any other race you'd think, winning a stage is fantastic. But I think, in the Tour de France to lead it, sometimes there's only 2 or 3 riders in a tour that get to lead the Tour de France. Whereas normally you get, 15 or 20 stage winners. So I guess it is a more exclusive club as the Yellow Jersey Club. Of course, the ultimate is to win it. But that's a whole nother club, that one. But yeah, to win a stage and to lead the Tour de France. I think after you've won a stage, I think to get the yellow jersey is great. Like you look at the riders, they break down when they get, emotionally. You just see them when they won stages and then they get the yellow jersey, and it's really getting the yellow jersey that they get so much, pleasure from. I think. Kudos.
What advice would you have for Yatesy now that he's in yellow, in terms of, obviously a lot more demands for his time, there's a bit more media and all this sort of stuff. What advice would you have for him?
Well, I think he's picked a pretty good year for it because, I think the public are right back. So there's possibly not so much demand for, from the public. You don't have to spend hours after the stages signing autographs. And even the press protocol is possibly a lot more structured than what it was before, and securing the hotel. So he possibly has a bit more time to recover. But, I think he went to the Tour de France to win stages, and, I'm not sure if he's got it in him to finish the Tour de France in the yellow jersey. So I would, and I think the favourites are just sitting back and letting the Mitchelton-Scott team just bury themselves on the front every day. So by the time they get down to the business end of the race, I think I don't think that Yatesy will have much support from the rest of the boys, because they're going to be planting themselves this first week or so. And it's great for him to lead the race, but if I were him, I'd possibly ease back a little bit, try and conserve some energy, even if it means losing the yellow jersey, and let some of the other teams. You can see the jumbo team just sitting back there. Same with the Ineos team. The favourite team's just sitting back at the moment, taking it easy. And when they bite in the third week, I'm not sure there's going to if the Mitchelton-Scott team's just going to be burying themselves every day, after 10 days, they're going to be on their knees. So, it seems like, people talk about the commentary. They talk about this race being harder than other years, but I don't think it's been harder until now. The terrain, the course has been harder than other years, but I don't think the riders have been doing it too hard. Normally you see, at the end of the first week, and we're nearly finished, we're just about on a week now. You see a lot of riders, in the box, and they still look reasonably fresh. I don't think we've seen too many fireworks, and, it seems like there are some crashes in that, but I think other years we've seen crashes with 50, 100 guys coming down, and till now it just seems, it almost seems like there's been not an arrangement, but the teams have got together and said, let's take it a bit more easy. We don't even know if we're going to be getting to Paris or whatever. Let's try and make it through these weeks without being too stupid.
Now we're getting some comments in. Skippy will have even worse internet from Ben Jensen. Your internet's not been too bad, but Jace wants to know, what is Phil's most memorable win? The guy's a legend.
Most memorable win was winning a spot on the program tonight. I think that'd have to be bloody right up there amongst anything I've ever done.
Come on.
It is. I've got to say, Phil,
that's a good question.
Well, it is starting to freak me out. I don't know
What's
which head to look at. That background
I know.
is
I
doing
know,
my
I'll
head
put this
in.
one.
It's about the same size. but anyway, come on, mate. What's your best win?
Best win. Oh, look. Getting a yellow jersey and winning a stage or a couple of stages in the Tour de France is huge, but everybody bangs on about that. There's lots of other wins behind those, and there are wins which are sweet for different reasons. In 76, I had a really tough year. I had like an arthritic condition. I thought my career was over. The press were all over me. It was, I had a big responsibility on the Panasonic team. A new leader of the team, and I could barely walk. I had this arthritic condition, and it took me months and months to get it diagnosed correctly. And finally, when I did, I started coming back slowly. And I remember, 2-3 months, after I sort of delayed the start of my season. I didn't really start racing until May. Normally you start in January or February. And, but then in June in the Tour of Switzerland, I remember I got second in the stage. It was like the hardest stage. And then I went to the Tour de France, had a reasonably average Tour de France, but then I got to the end of the season and I won the Paris Tours. And, for me, that was such a, a sweet win, simply because it was, I'd had this condition and I came back from, which was pretty terrible, situation, not knowing if I'd ever be able to reach the same level again. And that was a fantastic win for me, the win the Paris Tours. And it's not a mountainous race or anything like that. It's just a one-day sort of classic. Another one was Zurich. That was in 85, so that was the year before. So it'd be a really good year. I just won a heap of races, and just in the finish of this particular Zurich, it used to be called the Grand Prix of Zurich. It was considered a classic back in the day, and you did started in one place and it finished in another. But then it went over the finish line twice, and you went up a really steep hill on this 20-kilometer circuit. And so we went past the finish a couple of times, and I noticed on the finishing circuit there were a couple of good spots to attack in between some road furniture, you call it now. There was some dividers in the middle of the road, and I snuck through in this gap in this divider. So it was legal, like the whole road was shut off, and it was just near the back of Zurich Airport, I think. And I got through and ended up going right past the peloton, and I think the attack was maybe 4Ks from the finish, and I think I won by 50 meters, something like that. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's on YouTube. It was a fantastic win.
I thought you were going to say maybe the Ocean Grove stage of the Bay Classic, but that's okay. That's okay.
Hey, John, why don't you get your yellow jersey out? Get your Lexus jersey out.
I've got that to hiding now. I'm not bringing that back out.
All right, Phil. A lot of people tune into this show for who's going to win the stage. So it's obviously a sprint tonight. We think with crosswinds could dish up some unknowns. But who are you tipping for tonight's stage, and who are you tipping for the overall?
Overall, I don't know. Overall, I think we're going to see a repeat from last year. I really think that since the Dauphiné, I think some of the pressure has gone out of Ineos, and I think they're just going to be sitting back, not taking the responsibility, especially when they're putting some riders up there now. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the third week. Roglic, I mean, we don't know if his back's recovered, or I don't know, he had an accident or something that there last week, I think it was. And so we'll have to see if he's got the condition. But I mean, those two super teams are going to be battling it out.
Just on that, with those little niggly injuries, for people that aren't sort of your diehard cycling fans, if you had a crash, say, a week before the tour Are you really going to see the effects of that in that last week? Like, even if it's just a niggly back injury, do you pretty much need to be cherry ripe to win this thing, or can you overcome stuff like
that? You can. I mean, every injury is different. There hasn't been much word on what exactly the injury is, and so we can't really tell. Maybe he doesn't know. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I was so impressed with Caleb's ride the other day, the way he came out. He just came out of nowhere, and just shows what a talent he is. And I reckon that money's on him today. But yeah, the sprint, you can't tell. You think he would have got up. You think he would have got up, the day before yesterday too, but he wasn't there. So it can happen so quickly. You're on the wrong side of the bunch, or he doesn't seem like he doesn't have a train like some of the other teams do. So we'll have to wait and see. Stay up.
We've got another fan question, mate. Stuart McIntosh, out of the iconic tour climbs, Ventoux, Alpe d'Huez, Galibier, which did you go better on?
Possibly Alpe d'Huez. It's a bit shorter. Alpe d'Huez is, 15 kilometres. It's not too hard. I mean, the start of Alpe d'Huez is really hits you hard because you got the valley, which is just flat, and and then suddenly, at the bottom, the first couple of kilometres, the first up to the first church. I always take them by the churches. There's 3 churches, basically.
Well, it's funny. Alpe d'Huez features in our Detour DeLorean segment, Iffy. We're flashing back to 2015 when we went up the climb with Julian Dean and got amongst the crowd. So you got any final questions for Phil, John?
Yeah, look, mate, great to have you on again, and you're a superstar, and we will grab you again later in the sometime in this next 2 weeks. That's fantastic, mate.
Okay, then no worries. Yeah, in the third week maybe we'll see when the real the stars rise at the top of the pile.
And it's not a criticism, mate, but maybe change the background next time, because as I said,
just so you know who's drinking there, buddy.
Good on you, Phil. Thanks for joining us,
boys. Mate. No worries.
Okay, buddy.
Good luck with the show.
Thanks, pal.
What a legend! Fantastic. Geez, we've had our work cut out for us tonight with the internet and so forth, Johnny. But we're soldiering on. We'll have a quick word now from our mates at Bike Exchange.
We are the world's #1 bike marketplace with over 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Now, I got a text message from Duncan. He wants to apologise for his internet, and he's going to speak to the guys at Telstra, and they're going to give him a dongle. Now, you've got a dongle, haven't you, John? But you haven't hooked it up yet. So.
Well, I've almost got it hooked up.
Now, Detour DeLorean. Let's play the Sting, because I've got an absolute ripper tonight.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Now, we got a good response last night. We played the AC/DC video from 2013. Now, this video gets me just as excited, because there's been, obviously with COVID, there's cutbacks on the crowd this year. But one of the most iconic backstage passes was when Julian Dean and it was stage 20 of the 2015 Tour de France, and we spent pretty much the afternoon on Alpe d'Huez. Now, you've seen Alpe d'Huez and particularly Dutch Corner. It's absolutely feral, but this was the year that GoPro had the vision on the bike. So you got to see what it was like as a rider going through that mess. So I want to play, this snippet from an iconic day 5 years ago at the tour.
You better dance now. You don't have to be beautiful to turn
some, mate?
Hey.
Alright, baby, yeah.
Oh, I love some, mate.
That's what you've been eating.
How good are the Hawks going?
All right, so we're on the first corner here. The Welsh corner seems a bit light compared to the Dutch corner, boys.
Yeah, but that flag there belongs to me.
Oh, does it?
I bought that from Poland.
Yeah, right.
I'm well confused.
It's cheaper there too.
So how many Welsh are you?
6 of us in the van over there. We've been here since Tuesday.
Yeah. Big day.
Bought 1,000 cans of beer with us.
And how many you got left?
200.
Yes, very good. Going home tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ah, good to see you again.
It was good to see you.
No words to be spoken.
God bless you, my child. This is the best corner because it's from Ireland. God bless you.
Oh yeah, the New Zealand corner.
Hey guys, love the backstage pass.
If you wanna impress me, you can't beat it. I know the melon best.
Alright, so we're down here at the most famous corner in the world of cycling, the Dutch corner on Alpe d'Huez. I was pretty scared driving my car through there, so I parked it 1k up the road and come back down to do this interview. But I don't think I want to get too involved in what's going on there.
How good's that, Johnny? I thought it had the vision of the riders going through, but I must have trimmed that off at the end. But you get a sense of the crowd and atmosphere, and who knows? You know, there probably will be a few more on the climbs, but as the riders have openly said, that they don't really want to see scenes like that in this current pandemic. But hopefully, when the smoke clears, we can get back to that sort of behaviour. Now, Iffy, the Oracle, who are we tipping tonight, mate?
Well, if it's a sprint finish, then I'm going to go for Caleb. But I've got a real sneaky feeling that this race is going to blow apart in the side winds and someone's going to crack and then the pressure's going to come on. So if that's the case, I'm going to go for Wout van Aert.
I would have to agree. I think he's the tip because he's going to have a solid team of engines around him, and you're going to need that. You're going to need every help you can get if those winds kick up. So I think he was around $5.50, so that's not too bad value. Jam-packed episode tonight, John. Now, we're going through the Rolodex of contacts that we've got, and we could potentially have some amazing episodes coming up in future shows without giving too much away, Iffy.
Yes, we'll keep the lid on it for now, and then we'll have snippets on social media over the next couple of days. It's going to be huge.
Yep, and as we always say at the end of the show, facebook.com/Detour Pod and search the Detour Podcast in YouTube. So tell all your mates to watch the show. And yeah, it looks like, well, fingers crossed, the Mitchelton-Scott guys can, geez, I'm mincing my worms at the moment. Hopefully they can hold on to the yellow jersey, and it's a cracking stage, and we'll be back at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. And we'll see you then for
and without any bias, go, Green Edge.
Exactly.